Now, something you need to understand about poker downswings is that they happen to everybody. Even for me, I've been playing for over 20 years at this point. I've had situations where I've lost quite a bit in a day. I'm talking thousands. It does happen. On the flip side of that coin, though, I have also, gone positive, right? But we're going to be breaking down some hands here. I'm going to go over some things you guys can do to help cope with downswings. Also, I want to point out as we're getting into this, it's going to be a 500 NL session. I'm going to be breaking down. You could get on our newsletter as well as join our community in the pinned comment section. Definitely recommend doing that, guys, because I'll tell you what, it's definitely nice to talk to other people about, what's going on, hand wise, things like that. Plus, just trying to grow the community, and I think it'll just help everyone. And you can talk to me there. But let's talk about the first thing here is that you have to accept variance is a part of playing poker, right? And all that means is there's just going to be those times where, your pocket kings gets cracked to pocket jacks all in pre-flop, and it's going to happen sometimes back to back to back. The thing is, for me, when bad things happen when I'm playing, it doesn't bother me nearly as much if I made the right decision, right? So if I lost, but it was with the best hand and the other guy kind of just got lucky, it doesn't bother me as much. And that might be weird to think about, but you'll start to understand like the scale will start to shift back in your favor after a while after things like that happen, as long as you're making the right decisions, which is why you need to detach from emotions as much as possible. Really, at the end of the day, poker comes down to making good decisions, period. Either you're making good decisions when you're playing in a session or you're not, and it is what it is. Now, when you are in a downswing, definitely take care of yourself. This is super important, guys. So for me, what I like to do is make sure I'm getting good sleep, because if I'm not getting good sleep, then I'm probably not playing good. I try to exercise as much as possible. I would say a minimum, guys, like 3 to 4 times a week be exercising. It's going to help release a lot of stress. And then the other thing too is like when things aren't going your way, it's okay to take a couple of days off. Sometimes a lot of people will play too much, you'll burn out, and that's really it. And then of course, just understanding this is like a long-term thing. Things are going to go good for a little bit. They might go bad for a little bit. Just have a long-term outlook on playing. Okay, now let's get into some of these hands, right? Pocket aces. Let's see if we had any action on this. Now this 500 NL game, we are pretty deep, right? It's a little bit different than playing like 100 NL or 200 NL. Really just hoping somebody raises us at this point. Just looking for somebody to raise us, man. It's like, come on, man, we got aces. I think player 4 is just gonna maybe time out here. Let's see. And stick around at the end, guys, because there's going to be a pretty big all-in you're not going to want to miss. All right, player 5 folded. Back to player 1, nothing there. Okay. All right, jack deuce off, just folding this. I played pretty good in this one. I wouldn't say I played great, but I didn't play terribly there. I was probably like right in between. Just trying to make good decisions. That's about it. Okay, so here we go with pocket eights. This hand was wild. All right, we'll just have to see what happened here. But three-handed here, pocket eights. I could have raised this up. Player one's gonna kick it up to 1250. I just called, which I think is fine too. You can go either way with this. And then player 5 is going to call as well. And the flop wasn't terrible for pocket eights. We're not gonna hit an 8. I will give that away, but it wasn't terrible. But this hand was very confusing. I was super confused playing it. I didn't know if I was good or anything. But it was also a hand where I just wasn't going to get away from, if that makes sense. So, here we go. Okay, so we have the low end of this, which not the greatest, right? I mean, it would have been better if we didn't, because if a queen hits, then obviously like a king is best. What we could hope for here is hitting a 7, which get ready for the turn card because it's gonna get interesting. All right, so we did hit the 7. Now, I checked it. So I was basically just slow playing this, seeing if anybody would take a stab at it. And player 1, I think, is going to throw like a 25 piece at it, a 25 piece chicken nugget. I'm just going to make the call here. I'm not going to raise it up, just going to make the call. But when it comes back to player 5, that's where things got very confusing. Now you have to figure we are blocking a lot of hands. Queen 8. So one of these guys holding an 8, it's possible, less likely because we have pocket 8s, okay? But when player 5 put in this little raise right here, it definitely was throwing some red flags. Like, are you slow playing king queen? Is that even possible right now? I mean, I guess it is. Do you have queen 8 would be like the most brutal situation for us, right? Like a queen 8 suited or something. So I just called here. It would have been weird if player 1 called too. There could also be a lot of 2 pairs and sets here. So that's also possible. Maybe this guy's building it to maybe pair the board, which didn't happen. I checked it back just to see what player 5 would do, because honestly, something didn't feel right here. Something did not feel right. Now he's going to go for a pot size. And I was just thinking to myself, like, do you really have me? Like, I just couldn't get away from it. He did this pretty quick too, and I think our decision was pretty easy here. We have to call, even if we're losing. I'm just hoping we're not losing at this point, but I couldn't get away from it, you know. I mean, could you get away from it? I don't know, guys. Just the way how this hand played out, to me, it just seems like there's just no way. So I called it, and yeah, it was a split pot. So that was, man, if he had queen 8 right there, that would have been ridiculous, guys. That would have been ridiculous. Okay, so the result was okay there. Glad we didn't lose, and, you know, on to the next hand, right? But continue sticking around because, like I said, we do have an all-in spot coming up here, and it was just such another crazy hand that you're just not going to want to miss. Don't want to give anything away, you know what I'm saying? Definitely don't want to give anything away. All right, the Doyle Brunson right here with the 2 deuce suited. Not a huge fan of playing this hand. I don't think I did either. Maybe I did. Okay, we took it down with the Doyle Brunson. I'll take it. All right, king 3 just folded this. Looks like player 6 is timing out. Kind of annoying. But we'll deal with it. I'm curious too. You guys can comment below about that pocket 8 situation. I think it was just very, it was very tricky. Would you have made that call, or would you have let it? I mean, I don't think anybody's letting that go. If that guy had queen 8 though, it just felt like it was possible. You know, would have been brutal. Would have been brutal. I would have dealt with it. All right, so now me and player 5 went heads up. This is where things got very interesting. And when you're playing like this deep, you know, it's a lot different than playing a sit and go, let's say that, right? All right, anyways, I had a 10-9 here, pretty dry flop, but a lot of turn cards could be good for us here. I mean, if we hit a pair, a jack would be interesting, and guess what? A jack did hit. So I actually put a little sizing out there. Player 5 did something I didn't expect. He actually went for a raise, and I had to think, like, we're blocking the flush. We have the 10 of hearts. This feels like a lot of 2 pairs. So you're looking at like jack 3, jack deuce. Those are the type of hands that we're up against here, most likely. So it doesn't really make sense to raise. I could have called here, but I didn't. I folded it. And we got to see the river, so I'm glad I folded it. Definitely saved a little bit there. And, you know, he just made it so big that it was hard to continue, right? It's not like if he would have kicked it up to like 40 or 50, but he went to like 90 basically. So it was kind of like, it was a little much, right? It was a little much. Anyways, all right, 7-3, pretty much a check fold here. I think we got a few kind of like rough hands here, like back to back to back, which totally happens, especially when you're playing heads up like this. But get ready, guys, because you know, we do have an all-in moment coming up here soon. All right, 4 on the turn. Six deuce folded it. So I mean, I'm being patient. It's not like I'm not being patient. And then we had a yeah, king 10 here. I am gonna raise this up. Okay, raise it up to 45. Reasonable, I think. And he is going to, does he call? I forget. Maybe he called. Nope, he folded it. All right, so we took that one down with some aggression. Haven't really been doing that a whole lot yet, playing this guy, kind of just feeling him out. Went for a raise here. All right, he folded it. So the aggression is working out so far. Queen 9, totally good enough to call a raise here. He went small. I called, not a great flop, but we could still hit a queen or a 9 on the turn. We are blocking the hearts, but, you know, not a whole lot there. And I'm not sure how much I want to continue here. Now, 10 on the turn, if I was going to go for it, it probably would have been right there. I think he does go for it here, and I have no choice but to just kind of give this one up. That's the thing, too. Sometimes it's just better to let something go than try to make something out of nothing, you know? Especially when you're playing so passively like that in that hand. Okay, Jack deuce, folded it. Nine three, folded it. So yeah, getting some bad hands now. But we do have one coming up here, a Jack deuce that I played. It was suited. I think it's the next hand maybe. And sometimes it's just better to fold hands like 9-3 offsuit than to call, you know, even heads up. All right, Jack deuce. I actually limped here. I was still going to call even if he raised. I could have raised this easily. He's going to kick up to 25. I'm going to make a call. And it was just a flop where there's not much I can do here as far as like, what are my bluffs? You know what I mean? Not a whole lot. Unfortunately, I am just going to let this one go. We're going to take the L on it, and we're going to move on to the next hand, which I think is going to be the kind of the hand of this session here. Okay, and nope, we got one more, I think. Doyle Brunson folding this, of course. Can't play that. No, sir, we are not playing that one. Oh, Queen Jack. I guess we had a couple more hands here. All right, no action. 6-4. I don't think I called this one either. Okay, yeah, so it's the next hand here. I think it was an A6 offsuit, something like that. Let's see. Okay, so at this point, like any ace heads up, is playable, right? Even with the 6 kicker, it doesn't really matter. I went for a raise 15. He's going to kick it up to 50. So basically, player 5's representing hands like mid-pocket pairs, possibly some ace-king, ace-queen type of hands, maybe an ace-jack suited, maybe some king-queens. So that's kind of the range I'm putting this guy on, right? But no fear here. I made the call because, you know, I have plans for this hand, right? Plus, you have to deviate from just using one type of strategy. Just outplay your opponent. Now, we did hit mid pair here. There's a 10 out there. There's a diamond draw. There could be some. He could have a pair of 10s here, possibly. I'm not saying he doesn't. It's just that to me, it just seemed like if he's going to raise like that, it's either he's got us here or he doesn't. So he could, like, if he has a couple of overcards that miss the board, sure. His sizing was so small that it kind of threw some red flags off to me, like, okay, your hand's not that strong. I didn't want to just call here for a couple of reasons. I didn't want a jack or a queen or a king to peel off on the turn, and then, you know, we're in a harder spot. So that's the reason I made this play. Unfortunately for me, I was wrong. And that's the thing, guys. Like, you can be wrong. And this is one of those sessions where even running it back to you guys now, it's okay. I still, you know, I made the play I did. I'm going to live with it. He had a pair of 10s. We were trying to hit the ace or the 6 going to the river. So we were definitely very behind here. And unfortunately for us, we lost. And it is what it is.